I just muted all you as well.
Yeah, I'm still getting that other net. I get it S8 here, no problem. But I'm able to tune it out, so I'm just gonna do that and broadcast on top of them.
All right, welcome everyone on YouTube. It's been a while, but we're back, and you take it anytime you want, Chris.
I'll now press the magic button that disconnects the repeater from normal operation and connects us to an alternate interactive broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, come on in. Let's get ready to rumble. This is the August 26, 2020 edition of the Ham Radio TV 2-meter crew anti-net. Hear the stories. Be thrilled by the fabulous ham operators, and join in to participate in the greatest ham radio anti-net and live stream on YouTube. I want to take a moment to thank the owners and supporters of the W6VBR repeater and the Vaca Valley Radio Club, who actually let us use this repeater every week for the anti-net. Of course, at any time, if there's any priority message traffic, we'll shut down and we'll make room on the frequency for people to communicate. With that, I'm N6CMB Chris in Clayton, California, and I'll be your MC tonight. The 2-meter crew anti-net meets every Wednesday at 7 p.m. It's an open anti-net, and everybody is welcome. Please feel free to join in. In fact, really, to make it work, we need you to join in. We've made it easy. You can get on the air on the W6VBR repeater, 145.470, with a negative offset of 600 kilohertz and a PL of 127.3. You can get on an EchoLink, WG5EEK. There's an AllStar node, 51094, and a DMR talk group at 314-9964. And of course, we're being live streamed on the hottest YouTube channel, Ham Radio TV, featuring the infamous Vacaville Chicken Rancher, captain of the off-road pickle, master of 4-screen PC Kung Fu, our very own Ham Radio Mafia boss, Jason Fiore, KN6FAK. Jason, you want to say hello?
I sure do. What's happening, everyone? Good evening, good afternoon, good night. We are back. I had some time off with the wife. I had some time off with camping, and then most recently we had some fires. So took some time off last week. So happy to be back in the saddle. We've got a bunch of people joining us. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And yeah, it feels good. It's 84 degrees in my shack. Very happy about that. This is KM6FAK. Back to you, Chris.
All right, we'll hear more from Jason later for sure. Today is the 26th of August, 2020. This day in history, August 26, 1939, the first televised Major League Baseball game was broadcast on station W2XBS. That station went on to be WNBC TV. The announcer was Red Barber. He called the game between the Cincinnati Reds and the Brooklyn Dodgers. At the time, television was still in its infancy. Regular program did not yet exist, and very few people even owned a set. There were only about 400 in the New York area. Not until 1946 did regular network broadcasting catch on in the United States, and only in the mid-1950s did television sets become common in the American household. By today's standards, the video coverage was crude. There were only 2 stationary camera angles. The first went down the third base line to pick up infield throws to first, and the second was placed high above home plate to get an extensive view of the field. It was difficult to capture the fast-moving plays. Swinging bats looked like paper fans, and the ball was all but invisible during the pitches and hits. Nevertheless, the experiment was a success, driving interest in the development of television technology, particularly for sporting events. Though baseball owners were initially concerned that they were going to lose revenues, they quickly bought in and saw the possibilities for new revenues through exposing the game to everyone. Today, television sports is a multi-billion-dollar industry with great technology that gives viewers an astounding amount of visual and audio detail. Cameras are so precise they can capture the way a ball changes shape when it's struck by a bat, and athletes are wired to pick up field level and sideline conversation. The reason I found tonight's little of the day of topic interesting to me is, in spite of how far television has come, I kind of prefer to listen to a baseball on a radio. Anybody else kind of feel the same way? Does anybody still like to tune into a baseball game on the radio?
Was that rhetorical, Chris?
Well, this is kind of that moment where I hope that we got to get proof of life, that we actually got someone out there.
I have fond memories of my AM radio late at night after the parents told me to go to bed, listening to some baseball.
All right, there is someone out there. That's what we wanted to know. All right, let's move on. The 2 Meter Club is not an actual club. We're just some hams that are out learning and enjoying all things ham related. There's no fees, there's no dues, and that's the only way you can kind of get involved is hang out with us here and check us out on Facebook on 2MC. Speaking of which, is Derek out there tonight? K6 DJV. We can usually get an update from Nick up in Washington, KN6DAL.
Yeah, good evening. This is Nick, KN6DAL. I'm going to let this drop and turn something off that I'm monitoring that's doubling. There we go. All right, this is Nick, KN6DAL, and it looks like we've been just blasting through members on the 2MC Facebook. We're at 239 members right now. There's more and more communication each and every day, all kinds of interesting stuff. So if anybody's not connected and wants to get in there and learn a little bit about us and post something interesting or ask a question or anything like that, feel free to jump on and we'll get you signed in. Again, this is KN6DAL in Everett, Washington. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, I'm really surprised at the quality of some of the posts up there. It's one of the few places on the Facebooks that I like to go and can learn something. So I thank those that are putting those posts up and making it worthwhile to stop in and check it out. Hey, if you're watching tonight on YouTube, I want to remind you that you should give a little thumbs up and support Jason's Ham Radio TV channel. Better yet, subscribe so you don't miss out on any of his world-famous content. Hey, Nick, hate to call you right back, but any chance you can remind us about your new channel and remind folks where they can find you on YouTube?
Nick again, KN6DAL. You can find me at Northwest Ham Shack on YouTube. Not a whole
lot of content quite yet, but I do have a couple of videos in the works, just kind of making my way back out to the shack after all kinds of different events in life. You know, life catches up with you, but if for some reason Jason's not able to stream, I'll always be there as a backup to make sure that we can keep the anti-net going for everybody when available, as long as the repeater is able to do it. And so if anybody wants to check it out, you're welcome to come in and subscribe, and I'll always be a backup there for Jason. He's kind of mentored me through the whole YouTube process, and it's been a lot of fun learning about how that goes. So thanks a lot. KN6DAL.
All right, now we'll move on to any planned events. Anybody going to do some simplexing or know about testing coming up, or a flea market, or anything that might be going on in the ham world? And feel free give us some of your shameless plugs like Nick just gave us.
Good evening there, Chris and the group. Kill November 6th, Bravo, X-Ray, Michael from you-know-where.
Hey, Michael, thanks for jumping in. What you got?
Talk a little bit about before the net there, of course. And I'm a member of the North Hills Radio Club, the Sacramento area, K6IS repeater system. Yeah, next week I've got a couple events, especially next Monday the 31st. Let me time repeater. Next Monday, the 31st, is our end of the month, our Monday night Monday night 8 o'clock TechNet, hosted by Greg, KK6WSP of Sacramento. And at the last Monday of every month, in the case of 31st, we're doing our monthly simplex test where we go on our K6S repeater, where we go and do a check-in, see who is yay or nay on the test, where we switch over to 14652, see who can listen to who, come on back to our repeater, do a little play-by-play analysis. We usually use a cue codes from 1 to 5, 1 to bad, 5 to good. And then we'll see how well we listen to each other. Again, that's Monday the 31st at our 8 o'clock TechNet, hosted by KK6WSP. And then one more little thing, maybe you like little ham trivia. Let me break. Again, North Hills Radio Club, our Tuesday night amateur radio network. It's hosted by Doug and it's XNFF, quite a fine gentleman we have. And he always likes to do, at the first Tuesday of every month, do ham radio trivia. Finds a question from QRZ side and see who can answer the question, usually multi-choice or true or false, and then we'll see, as he said, we'll be in the winner circle. So there you go. Again, 31st is simplex test, and September 1st, our net with trivia. And if you have any further information on the repeater, do you want me to send out the information on the repeaters, Chris?
Hey, why don't you give the website? That way they can look it up. I know you guys have it up there, and they can also get more club info there.
Thank you very much, Chris. Yes, the North Hills Radio Club site is www.kilo6indiasierra.org. Again, k6is.org for further information on our club and the repeater information. Okay, well, thank you very much, Chris. Back at you. And those of you in the Sacramento area, come check us out Monday night. Take care, everybody. KN6BXX.
Thanks, Michael. It's a good club over there. They got a lot going on, and folks in the area might want to check it out. Even if you're not going to join, they're happy to have guests. I've gone over there a bunch of times and had some fun with those guys. So, anyone else got a planned event? Going to climb a mountain, do a little simplex? What's going on? A bunch of boring hams out there. Nothing happening this week, I guess. We'll move right on for Help a Brother Out. This is the spot where you can let us know you need help raising a mast, hooking up an antenna, some technical advice from an Elmer, whatever you need. Throw it out there now, and we'll get your call sign. And at the end of the net, we'll get back on the air to help you out with whatever we can, or set up a helping hand to help move your house.
Have a comment, Chris?
BLF, go ahead.
You don't have to have a super technical question. I was approached over the weekend by some new operators that just got their radio. One of them was a Yaesu, I think it's I want to say FT-60. Somebody nod, is that right? FT-60? Yeah, I think so. Okay. And another radio, and they just want to learn how to program it. So it's okay if you're a new ham and you're listening to us on the repeater, or you're watching on YouTube. If all you need is help is programming your radio or picking a radio to upgrade or start out, that's okay. The simple questions are absolutely welcome, because I think sometimes, I know I do sometimes, we forget we started out a year ago or 2 years ago with a group of people that just got their radios and just learned. And now we're to this point and we're doing other things. But that doesn't mean for a second that we don't want to help you program, find out what kind of radio to buy, or tell you the differences in the numbers of coax. So I guess I'm saying every question is a good question. So please don't hesitate to ask it. N6VLF.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. It's a great point. And realistically, we all run into that stuff. Sometimes you just need help finding a menu setting in a radio, or how did I turn that beep on, or how do I turn it off, or little tiny things that, can drive you nuts, even though you're looking all over the internet to get an answer. Hey, there's guys out here who can probably help, and it can be just a simple thing. And it may even inspire us for some content for our, future episodes here. All right, well, next week, if you do have any questions, or if you think of any as we go through the net here tonight, please feel free to bring forward, and we'll be happy to answer. Most of you are aware that last week's anti-net was canceled in the face of devastating wildfires here in California. Some of our family and friends faced evacuations, and others lost their homes. The group felt it was important to keep the repeater available for emergency use, and I was humbled to hear countless hands offer up helping hands and even open up their homes to those who needed a place to stay. These life-changing events aren't restricted to California. Today, our friends and families down in the Gulf of Mexico face a powerful hurricane that's forecast to cause massive destruction. These events inspired our topic for conversation tonight. How fast can you leave? To start things off, we want to talk to Mike, WG5EEK, who can tell us a real-life experience about what it's like when someone says, you need to leave now.
All right, this is WG5EEK, Mike here. Luckily for us, we kind of had some, foresight to kind of look to see what was going on. The day before we evacuated, I lost power at about 5:15 in the afternoon, so I was already running a generator. And for those of you that have generators or run them, they need kind of attention. So they need gas, you got to check the oil, all that fun stuff. So I was basically monitoring that most of the night. I kind of planned on not getting much sleep that night, and it ended up being I didn't get any sleep. So actually the weird thing is around midnight, the power came back on for about 20 minutes. I didn't know how long it was going to be on for. So I started unhooking the generator and plugging things back into the house, like my fridges and stuff, so my load dropped. Alright, so I get everything hooked back up, and then the power goes out again. And it happens a lot if you listen to the repeater or you listen to me talk on Discord. It's quite a regular occurrence here in my neck of the woods in the northwest part of Vacaville. So I kind of had been paying attention outside. The fires are getting closer. I had my scanner on, so I highly recommend if you don't have a radio scanner, just figure out if you can get the app on your phone, because even though those did go down for a bit in certain places, I think Vacaville stayed up for the most part, but it's good to have that to kind of gauge what's going on. And I heard that they were evacuating some of the areas in the English Hills area and around the northern part above Vacaville. So I woke the wife up and said, hey, they're getting kind of close, so we need to start packing. I'll let it drop. So the things we grabbed obviously were clothes, because you had to have clothes for everybody. So we have 2 kids, so 4 people total, and so grabbed all the suitcases I could find, any bag, just started throwing stuff in there. Didn't care what it looked like, just grabbed, not a lot of clothes, but like, hey man, I got 3 or 4 days worth of clothes for each person, threw that in there. We grabbed our documents you need for, marriage license, birth certificates, social security cards, all that stuff. Grabbed all that, staged all that by the door. Grabbed all the stuff for our cat, because we have a cat, so I had to grab food, bowls for her, and extra litter, extra food in a bag, and litter box, if I didn't say that already, and a pet carrier. And so we kind of got that staged, and then my wife she's a photographer, much like Chris there, and so we kind of staged some of the, her cameras and all of her hard drives and stuff from her business, because she's been doing this for a long time. So we staged all that, grabbed the computer, grabbed the electronics that we needed, radios, basically everything you need to to kind of operate for wherever you're going to be at. So we made sure the neighbors were good, and see if they needed help loading things, and we started loading our stuff. And we took off. We took off before we got the official evac notice because we knew it was going to get busy. And the fires were not being stopped. It was 0% contained. And let me let it drop. So we headed up to the base because I'm in the military. So we go to get to base, top up our vehicles with gas because we're don't know how long anything is going to last. So make sure that was a priority. Had fuel in case we had to go further, and it's a good thing we did because we get checked into the on-base lodging, and we're there for a few hours, and then the fires were kind of approaching the base. They were getting to where the base commander made the decision to evacuate all of the base housing and lodging, anything like that, and then eventually they started evacuating all the aircraft as well. So we're already displaced out of our home. We get the word that we got to leave again. So my wife had the foresight. She's like, I don't think this fire is going to stop. So she actually repacked everything. We didn't really fully unpack in the hotel, but she just threw everything in. And then sure enough, I took my son outside to get him out of the way a little bit. And I got the call on my phone that they were evacuating the base. So we threw everything back in the vehicles and didn't check out. We just left, and on the way to Sacramento, we figured that was far enough east. We started calling some hotels. We found one, got a reservation, and got in. So in the course of just a few hours, evac twice, and luckily the firefighters did an amazing job of preventing the fires from getting to the majority of the town. There were some people on the outskirts that unfortunately did lose their properties. And a few people have lost their lives so far, which is extraordinarily unfortunate and sad. But most of us are in the lucky column. So yeah, so we got back a couple days later, and still haven't fully unpacked because the fires are still there. I think the last time I checked, we're 35% contained, something like that. So it's still a threat. It's just not as bad as it was, but that's basically my story. I mean, there was a lot to it. I think I slept over the course of 2 days, about 3 hours, dealing with evac and making sure all of my guys that I supervise and work with were out, and coordinating that with my NCOs. And yeah, it was a very it was a very long couple days. Back to you, Net Control, Chris. This is WG5EEK.
Well, thanks, Mike. I'll tell you, it's great to hear that you all and family is okay and it worked out. It was quite a day. I can tell you a little bit to Mike's character throughout that. Some of us were in contact with him on the radio and by phone, and he was just a cool cat the whole time. Never complained. Just did what was right for him and his family, and really made it look easy when it wasn't. And so with that, we really want to talk a little bit with folks about how ready are you? Do you keep a go bag ready? How long would it take you to get out of your house if someone asked you to go? I'll start off because it's going to be pretty easy for me. I am not prepped like I should be. I have all the stuff I need to be, but none of it's ready to go. So I'm probably one of those guys that's going to be in two positions. I'm not leaving. I'm going to slug it out here in my house, which is probably a bad idea. Or, I got an American Express in my bag, and that's what I've got to go, which is also not very prepped. So I'm looking forward to making some notes from you guys that are maybe more prepared on having a bag ready to rock and roll. So let's start kicking it around. Who out there wants to go first? You can check in tonight by IDing, and then I'll call you out for a little talk about your plan to get out quick.
6 ETDs, this is Dale.
Go ahead, Dale.
So it was a little crazy here. I'm at the northwest corner of Vacaville. We ended up with fire on 3 sides of us. Evacuation 1 block on 2 sides, and then 4 blocks over on the other. We kept a let me drop. We kept an eye on the fire. I don't know if you've ever seen. I have a converted ambulance with a just about everything you need. And we put all of our pictures, papers, everything into those large Tupperware totes. And we were ready to go if need be. You know, the rest could burn and insurance could take care of it for us.
Yeah, that's a great tip, right? At the end of the day, it's we don't want to leave too many valuables behind, but I think Jason had a little list of stuff up there, you know, the 6 Ps or whatever it is, and, you know, people and pets are 2 big ones that I know I'd want to be taken care of, and, you know, like you said, anything else can be replaced by insurance. It was great to hear the radio chatter going on in the VVR and other repeaters, you know, close-knit community. People know, a lot of us know where each other live, and we're checking in on each other. You know, VLF was kind of a middleman, I know, for a lot of communications. Maybe we'll get Kevin to comment. You know, he's right in the thick of it. We'll get him to jump in here next.
All right, Chris. Well, first I want to say it was really great hearing all the people on the repeater that were just willing to help, as well as the folks that were listening on the repeater were very gracious and stood by to allow the health and welfare traffic. And it was a great opportunity for the CART team. Excuse me, the large animal, I misspoke, the animal rescue people, they used it, and that was really great. And the amateur radio community just comes together. I think what I kind of impressed upon me was the fact that the R Club and the 2-meter crew club, which have a lot of people, crossover people, and a lot of friends that mutual friends, and we didn't have a organized emergency plan. And I'm not saying that's bad, because without it, you guys did great. I heard everybody over there in Vacaville, up in the hills. I mean, I can't tell you, because I don't remember, I have to go back and look, how many phone calls, text messages, radio calls on a couple different repeater systems, and just dozens of them. And it was people checking and helping other people. And it was just really, really awesome. It just made me feel really good that all you people out there were willing to help. I mean, people were offering, this has already been mentioned, people were offering their homes and their properties, and I'm just in a position where I'm just blessed with a property that's situated that the fires from the foothills typically do not threaten my home. So puts me in a position where I can go help somebody, or in this case, it wasn't so much that I was going to physically go somewhere and help someone, as much it was passing some health and welfare traffic, and people brought their trailers and their trucks and their frozen food and stuff like that out to my house, and we were able to store it. And that's something too that maybe people can speak to that as well. You don't have to be the big time emergency person. You can be a helpful individual by saying, hey, it's okay for you to bring your trailer or your pick.
Yeah, I think we lost Kevin.
Do I time out the repeater?
You did, but you're back.
I think I timed out my own radio. Our repeater doesn't time out. You have to really try hard. Anyways, thanks, Jason. So, with all that said, it was really a joy to hear everybody helping each other. It was really great. And by the way, the VVRC radio club, our repeater, the people that physically own it and physically take care of it, they may or may not be listening, but again, we're going to just put a big thanks out to that crew, because they were very wise
in what they did in the last month or so. Let my radio drop. They sent a crew with bulldozers up there, and they dozed somewhere between 20 and 30 feet around their sites, not just the one, there's more than one up there. And several of those people did that, and they did it to the site where ours is at, and a couple right next to it. And man, it really saved it. And in addition to that, we just thank them for having the foresight to put in a heck up battery backup system. It kind of looks like, have you ever seen the pictures of the big submarine batteries? It takes up a big area. Yeah, think of it like that. And it's big, and the charger is powerful, and they have a backup generator up there too. So that's amateur radio. People behind the scenes, I typically, let me drop. Sometimes you'll hear me use the word secret squirrels. That's not a derogatory remark. That's a term of endearment. Those guys go up there without us even knowing it. They fix stuff and they let us use it for free. I mean, they don't even ask for donations. And those cats did a great job. And our repeater is not the only one. There's 2 or 3 other ones up there that survived and did very similar things and let people use them. So thank you to the amateur radio repeater community that allowed us to use that. Anyways, maybe we could pass on somebody else. You can talk about your generators and your batteries and what radios and all that kind of junk. But it was a real joy hearing everybody, and thanks to the guys with the radio gear.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'll tell you, one of the things I noticed real quick was how fast information could be passed when we did it on the radio. There were, a whole litany of guys that wanted to know where's the geek and is he okay and what's going on over there and where's Bruce and where's Jason and, it was so quick for the guys that knew to just be able to say, hey, we just talked to Mike, a few minutes ago, he's getting evacuated, he's heading to Sacramento, instead of having all those people maybe tying up cell phone lines, or even tying, a mic up while he was on the move. With just a couple of radio messages, we kind of informed a big group of people as to what was going on. So I would encourage anybody coming up next to talk about your bug out bag or how quick you can get out, but also if anybody is involved with any formal, nets or ham response organizations, especially if one was activated throughout this emergency, I'd like to hear about that too. So who's up? Give me a call and I'll call you out.
KF6 Triple H, Dan.
Hey Dan, Triple H, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm here in Woodland. I'm a member of Yolo County Aries. We have not been called up yet. The repeaters on 146.970 and 147.000, which I believe are on top of Mountain Vaca, they lost power and have been on battery for a while. So we were able to keep in communication. I don't actually have a Go kit, but I have all my manuals and all my accessories, antennas and stuff, HTs, in Ziploc bags, and I have a big backpack that I can take and load everything up in about a minute. So it's quick to get out if I have to. Repeater break. KF6 Triple H Friday. Yeah, and like 15 years of being with Aries, we have not been activated, but I've always got stuff set up, and lots of people have a lot more significant setups. Just kind of depends on the money you have to spend, I guess. So that's about it. KF6 Triple H.
Thanks, Triple H. Always good to hear from you. N6CMB, Chris and Clayton for ID. Yeah, one of the things I do keep at work, and it was actually, I work for a little company called Chevron. They inspired us. They gave us some backpacks and had us fill them with some kind of to-go gear, mostly in case of like an earthquake, an unknown like that. That way, no matter when I'm at work, I've always got a bag there of the essentials to, if the big one sort of hits. So I keep that ready. Who's next?
Easy from San Ramon.
Is that Ryan sneaking in on the net tonight?
Hey.
All right, Ryan, what do you got on this topic?
So I'm always portable, and our power hasn't gone out yet. Well, I don't even think it will because, you know, we think we're connected to a different grid, but not really. I'm always, you know, portable, bringing around the backpack with the ammo can and the FT-3ER, FT-70, and the PL660 receiver, and I have all of those ready to go. Although I'm trying to not charge my FT3 like most often as I did with my FT-70 because one, I don't want to wear out the battery, and two, I don't want to wear out the charging port for the radio.
Copy that. So it sounds like you feel like your ham gear is pretty important to grab if you ever had to leave your house in an emergency situation. Is there anything else you want to make sure you grab on the way out the door?
Toothbrush, stuff like that.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Ryan. Who's next? Give me a call. We'll get you on here listening to how quick can you get out of the house.
6BXX.
Go ahead, Michael.
I live in the suburbs in Carmichael area, so I don't have to worry about the hills and all that, but it's a good point to consider if there's an evacuation by law enforcement or some possible threat of a fire nearby, so I guess I'm learning a little bit more today. I know for me, though, for sure, is grab my grab my laptop, the charger, grab hopefully all our phones, and whatever charger we can grab quickly. Make sure I have my HT with me and get the cars out of the garage as soon as possible, and hopefully make sure we get our pets as well, and hopefully maybe 15 or so minutes to get everything out as quick as possible. So a lot to learn there. And if your mic is still on the radio, WG5EK, great story, quite a harrowing experience you made, but thank God, literally, you got through, and as well as the other folks in the Vacaville area. So a great story there, Mike. All right, back to Chris, Can 6BXX.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, how about up in Washington, Nick? You've got a little troop that you'd have to evacuate if you had to get everybody out of the house. What's your plan?
Nick, KN6DAL, up here in Everett, Washington. Yeah, you know, the funny thing is that when you were talking about this, one thing that I guess I haven't really put a lot of thought into that just sort of came up on this anti-net was the time to implement the things that I do have. And I have a lot of stuff. I've got a pretty good supply of food. I've got a generator. I've got enough to buckle down in my house for quite a while. But actually implementing it on a move, I'd have to say I'm probably with you. It would be a little bit cumbersome because everything's kind of spread out in different areas. Amateur radio wise, I've got I guess it would be a go bag. It's kind of my soda hiking bag that's got, I've got every band, antennas, everything that I need as far as getting communication up and going, but I've got a lot more to worry about than just being able to talk to other amateur radio operators in the event of an emergency. I've got 3 kids, a wife, 2 dogs, a lizard. I suppose the lizard could probably stay. But yeah, there's a lot to think about as far as that goes. And Jason put up a really cool thing on YouTube here that I'll just mention audibly for those that aren't watching. It says, remember the 6 P's in case of evacuation: people and pets, plastic, papers, prescriptions, pictures, and personal computer. And I have a lot of those things ready to go at a moment's notice. But they're all kind of spread around the house, so I might consider maybe finding a place to put them that they're accessible right away, because I think I would probably be maybe a 45-minute jaunt to get everything going, and I'd like to maybe be in that 15 to 20-minute area. So good information, and it's good hearing from everybody. So thanks a lot for doing the net, Chris. KN6DAL.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, and one of those P's, plastic, may not be, jump out at you, but the P for plastic, what they manage, a credit card and some cash. That's definitely something you kind of want to have if you're going to be away from home for a while. All right, who's next? Give me a call. Did anybody evacuate? Has anybody been through another situation? Does anybody feel unprepared? Let's hear it.
6IZB, this is Joel.
Hey, good evening, Joel. Let's hear it. What do you got cooking?
Hey, I got two things. One, I was out on the road. We live here in Vacaville, and so my wife kind of had to shoulder the burden with 4 kids all on her own. And she came up with a pretty genius idea during the midst of it, and I was really impressed and thought I'd share it with you guys. In the midst of people leaving, she went over to Sam's Club and got four of those black bins with the yellow lids. Came home and put it in each one of the kids' rooms and said, while she's getting the important stuff, the 6 P's or whatever it was, basically, she took care of the important things. She said, okay, you guys, whatever you think is important, put it in this bin. You get this bin. And so it's amazing what the kids think is important in the comfort items, because those are really not the things that we really care about, but it sure is the things that make them feel better, and it takes the responsibility off of the adults' shoulders to try to guess what's important to the kids, too. So I thought that was a pretty genius move on her part.
Yeah, I mean, come on, Joel. You know what it's like. You're already going to be in a stressful situation, something bad, and you're taking the kids out of the house. A little bit of comfort for them, especially young kids, could go such a long way. Typical moms are thinking, and she's got a great idea there.
That was a genius idea. I was really impressed. And the second subject, maybe I can be the silent or the voice for the silent few up here. And I appreciate all the advice that anybody has given, and it kind of touches on a few things, kind of a go bag. And the reason why I bring that up is because on Discord, people see me coming up and asking those questions, and I've really trying to build that. And then earlier, does anybody have any questions? And just kind of maybe throw this out there with the deafening silence for the new guys. And I appreciate all the advice anybody's given, but sometimes if you kind of ask a question, it goes to varsity level really quick and kind of tends to blow the new guys' minds, and gives a lot more information than I think people. There are a lot of opinions, and it kind of makes it difficult. You get intimidated, I think, with the questions and the and whatnot. I tell my wife, it's kind of like, hey, I want to do a 4-wheel drive, and you ask the question, and somebody goes, hey, here's a picture of mine, and you're like, that's great, but I don't know what a Toyota is, I don't know what a Chevy is, I don't know what a Jeep is, I got no idea what I'm looking at. And so just maybe something for, I do appreciate this is not dogging on anybody or any conversation. Maybe my wife's telling me, well, tell everybody. I feel kind of awkward saying it, but if you, kind of look at it from that perspective of going, hey, we kind of need that. I'm just a pilot. You kind of have to dumb it down for me as a pilot, I guess, sometimes. So just food for thought for you guys. I appreciate all the help everybody's given me along the way.
Yeah, it's a great point, and we only have limited time on the air here to talk and on the ham radio TV on YouTube to share info. A lot of the follow-on we find is out there on Discord, which hopefully Jason can give some info on that, how to join the Discord. Continue the conversation. We talk about go bags, but maybe we've got a go bag section on Discord where you can talk about what's in yours and get advice and what kind of batteries you like to get and where can you get cheap but good batteries, and those kind of extended discussions can go on there because, yeah, it is tough to speak to everyone's level here on the air in such a short period of time. But thanks for those great tips, man. Really appreciate it. Who else do we have out there tonight who can give us some tips or tell us a story?
W1FRD, I'm done shopping. Now I'm back on the air.
Well, hey, Fred, you were discharged or had to leave your house, and you had a scary location you had to go to, right?
Yeah, we had to evacuate. We're just a block off from the grasslands there at Cement Hill. Had the red circle around our street, so they told us we had to go. I came home from work, the family was getting stuff together, had a quick discussion with the kids. I said, If it can't be replaced, stick it in the bag. And of course, my son grabbed my 2 handy talkies. And I said, we'll need the chargers with that. And then I have my FT-817, the amp, the tuner, and various antennas all in a little bag. And I just keep it in that bag. So I grabbed that bag. That was the extent of my ham radio stuff. And a couple of hard drives that had pictures on it. And I was ready to go.
So, Fred, how long were you guys out of the house?
Well, they lifted the evacuation just after one night. The kids wanted to stay at Grandma's down in American Canyon, so we stayed down there for a couple days.
All right. Well, who else have we got out there who has got some expertise in bugging out, or maybe ran into some problems when they were trying to bug out?
I have a question for everybody.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, those of us who did not have to bug out, we had to stay here and hunker down with no power. Who experienced no power for more than 24 hours, and did any of you, what type of solutions did you come up with to, keep the necessities running at your household? Just kind of curious if that happened to anybody besides me. Let me rephrase it. My power didn't go off this time. It did last time.
Yeah, N6CMB. It's interesting. I talked to a lot of guys. I heard a lot of guys on the repeaters who lost power for a while, and they were guys that I know have generator setups, but a lot of them didn't fire it up. They kind of waited it out to see how long they'd be without power. And those that, kind of got it back within a few hours, they never did start their generators and things. But they were ready, I guess.
Talk to and listen to people that lived on the outskirts of town and out in the foothills. Some of those folks, their water got turned off for I don't know why, and some of them had wells that required power to do the pump. And some people have, let's say you have a swimming pool and you want to use that to draft the water out to take care of, to protect your home. Just curious if anybody had any experiences with that kind of a thing. Be interesting to hear. Don't everybody talk at once, please.
I can make a comment. This is Fred, W1FRD. Typically, like a volunteer fireman will have a 5 horsepower pump and a hard line to stick in his pool with a strainer, and then probably 50 to 100 feet of fire hose and a nozzle to do protection on his property, or to teach his kids and wife to do it while he's away.
That's a really good comment, Fred. There's actually a couple companies on the internet that offer, it's that pump, like you described, on a dolly, and it comes with the hose and the nozzle, and it's made for drafting out of your pool so that you can protect your own home. So if you happen to be in an unfortunate situation of that your neighbor has a backyard that looks like a jungle and with lots of fuel, and you're the individual that doesn't have that, and you can draft the water from your pool, and then you can protect your fence line and the backside of your property. And another thing I'm just curious about, I guess I kind of already answered it, nobody said anything, is I had several people talk about their power, and how can I get my, I don't have to be evacuated, but we're out of power for a day or two. How do I get the power back onto my house safely without hurting anybody, keeping the critical circuits running? Has anybody encountered that situation?
I'll throw out a couple of comments there on what you brought up, Kevin. One is the water. When I grew up in the Northeast, we used to get blizzards and hurricanes in 2 different times of the year. But prepping for them was pretty similar, actually, because we normally would lose power during both events. And one of the things that my mom would always do whenever we were expecting a storm like that was fill the bathtub with water and try to get some water stocked up, because we'd lose water too when the power went out. And I still do that now. When we came up on this little session and we had a little fire behind Mount Diablo here, fortunately it went the other direction for us. I still did the same thing, just filled the tub up with water and made sure my generator was ready to go. One thing that Kevin might be leading to is, a lot of times when we have events like this, folks will run to the Harbor Freight and buy themselves a nice new generator and say, well, I can run the house on this thing. But, hooking it up to the house is not as simple maybe as some people might think, unless you have a little professional help or if you understand how to do it safely.
I'll say something here, KM6FAK. If you're watching YouTube, you'll get a kick out of this. Some of you may or may not realize when I was in high school, I was a volunteer firefighter, so I can put on my helmet, which I still have here at the house, and I will slide over to this picture. And boy, if you're not watching YouTube, you're missing it. This is my senior picture, my senior graduating picture. I was about 17 years old there, and oh boy, I wanted to be a firefighter. So I just thought I'd bring this in tonight as it's kind of funny, a lighter note to tonight's topic. But yeah, absolutely, it was incredible to prepare for what happened to us here in Vacaville. I know I was not ready, and we started drawing up plans and filling totes, and I'm very fortunate to have an RV, and that would be the ultimate bug-out vehicle. But yeah, it really wakes you up, and it doesn't have to be fires. It could be anything, absolutely anything. You just might have to leave quick. It's KM6FAK.
Hey, thanks for that, Jason. I've got my helmet as well from my East Coast time as a volunteer fireman. We'll have to maybe get together to recreate our photos from that time. For sure, though, I got a serious request for everybody who is online watching on YouTube right now. In the comments section, I'd like to request that everyone give a thumbs up or thumbs down vote for the mustache arrangement that Jason's got going. Should it stay or should it go? Let's hear from the crowd. What's up for Jason's next shave?
Yeah, that's right, everyone. I went on a national park. We saw Kings Canyon, Sequoia National Park, and boy, I went into the first ranger station, and there it was. I just had to get me one. So, picked me up a mustache and a soul patch at the gift shop. Yeah, I'm driving everyone crazy. It's uneven. Thanks, Bobby. It's the camera. I'm driving my wife and kids crazy with the mustache, but every once in a while, you got to bring in the dad stash. KM6FAK.
6BX6. Well, ultimately, Jason, up to your wife and your kid, and your girls, obviously. Sounds like they're not fair, but so I guess give a little time. If they still say no, well, I guess it goes, man. Anyway, KN6BX6, having fun.
Hey, I don't feel like we can have a bug-out session without talking to Bug-Out Bobby. I don't know if he's next to a radio. He's on the YouTube right now. KD6KWV, Bobby Lee, you out there? KD6KWV. Bobby, Bobby, you're kind of a professional when it comes to putting together these bug out boxes, and setting up the kind of gear that you can just throw in a rig and go. But I'll put you on the spot and say, were you ready if you needed to go? Would you be ready this week, or do you need some prep? And then I'd also like you to comment on what you think is important on gear you'd take with you if you had to.
Yeah, I'm definitely... Oh, sorry, Ted. Ted has to leave the building for a minute. Definitely prepared for the bug out. And if I had to grab something in an instant, yeah, I've got everything prepared to grab. And as far as what I typically have, I mean, my gosh, all the different bug out bags that I have built, for just grab and go emergencies, started off small and ended up hog wild like everything else I touched. Let me drop real quick. But, the most immediate things that I have is, a knife, an axe, a fire starter, and a tarp for shelter, a space blanket for heat, and those are my first essentials in my bug out bag, including first aid, water purification or water filtration. I happen to have a stove in mine and an extra pair of wool socks and some working gloves and different types of multi-pliers and things of that nature. Something like that's a pretty good start. KD6KWE.
Thanks, Bobby. Yeah, and I've seen some of your rigs. They're very organized. Each bag sort of has a very specialized purpose. So, when you grab that particular bag, you've got your VHF or whatever, ready to rock and roll. So, who else we got out there who wants to share a little bit about bugging out, being ready, maybe emergency comms they've been involved with?
N60AL, I got a quick comment. Molly wanted to jump in and say something. Go ahead.
Bobby Lee, may you please come on the Zoom chat?
Hi, Molly. Of course I will.
Thank you so much.
All right, and a little off or a technical thing. Jason, did you stop my video for any particular reason, or?
I always have to float from Spotlight video, and I switch it around. I'm doing a million things, and Spotlight video and stop. I got it confused. So yeah, I took you out, Chris. Try to restart it. I think it should. Here you come. Thanks, buddy. Sorry about that. KM6FAK. Yeah, we'll be switching to Zoom here in a few. I'll be dropping it, the link there in the YouTube chat. So feel free. Everyone can join. Clothes are required.
Yeah, seriously, folks, Zoom is wide open. It's a lot of fun to hang out there for a few minutes. I know it's getting late for a few folks, but a half hour or so in there is a lot of fun. If you're not as good looking as Jason and I are, then you might not want to use a live video. That's okay. You can just hang out without a video, but it's always good to get some new folks in there and talk about what's on your mind in ham radio and anything else. So hopefully some more folks can join us in there. But before we head out there, I just want to check in again. Anybody else have anything on our topic tonight?
N60AL. In the chat on YouTube, Richard E. made a comment. Filling all the vehicles with fuel not only provides transportation, but also gives you additional generator fuel if you need it. So that's a good point. And also keep in mind that sometimes when power goes out, you're not always able to get good access to gas stations. So definitely a great point, Richard. KN6DAL.
Yeah, I've been watching just over my shoulder on some of the comments floating up, and it might be worth folks going through there. There's some great tips it looks like people have been throwing in there between apps and ideas on being prepared. I'd also like to remind folks of a video that Jason did in the past with one of our hams from over on the 3-3, a 2MC member, Rob from Auburn, did a little prep talk for us a little while back. Jason, do you remember the name of that video so people could find it in your channel?
I don't, but I believe it has something to do with preparedness. Let me see if I can drum that up.
Let Jason work his magic in the background. Maybe you can pull that one up. But yeah, if you take a look around in his videos, there's one on emergency preparedness, and Rob did a great job of really highlighting a few things that sometimes you might not think about. And again, it goes along with that. You know, it's better to prepare early than to kind of catch yourself out when the time comes, because you know, how long will it take you to get things together if you haven't spent some time? All right, another call out. Come one, come all. I want to hear about your plan to bug out when you need to.
W1FRD, Fred here. Just another comment. You know, the things that are important to you that you don't want to get burned up in the fire, just know where those things are, kind of group them together. That made it easy for me. I knew where the hard drives with the kids' movies and pictures were, and keep that stuff together. And it was easy for me to just grab it all and be satisfied that I had what I needed.
That's a great comment, Fred. Thanks. Anyone else? All right, well, I'm sure we're going to continue to talk about some of this stuff when we move over to Zoom. I'm going to get ready to make the transition. I'm going to go over to Jason, KN6FAK, before I ask tonight's closing trivia question, and then I'll return to the repeater to normal operation after that. So hang in there after Jason kind of shuts us down for tonight's trivia question. Jason, any closing comments before we head over to Zoom?
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here on the radio. Of course, we are live on YouTube. It is recorded, so you can go back and check that out. And we should be back in the saddle. I see several weeks in the future, uninterrupted programs right here, Wednesday, every Wednesday at 7. One thing I did want to share, it's on my screen, so my apologies if you're RF only, but there is almost a full week packed of ham radio YouTubers out there. So you've got everything from HRCC to K5ATA. You've got the Smokin' Ape. You got Kyle, Chuck. I mean, the list goes on. Ham Radio 2.0. There's just so many. Temporary offline. So I've got the schedule over my shoulder. I'll put a link in the description, so check those guys out. It's just so much ham radio on YouTube these days. You could really enjoy it every single day. But thanks, Chris, being the MC. Always very enjoyable. And we'll catch everyone next week here on the repeater. And I'm going to let people in Zoom now. This is KM6FAK.
All right, everyone. And as you move your way over to Zoom, I'm going to close tonight out with the trivia question. I'm going to give you multiple choice, so don't come in. Actually, first I'll leave it, I won't give multiple choice. I'll see if anybody gets it just on its own. All right, here we go. The law stating that the direct current flowing in a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference between its ends is what law? I'm going to give you some hints, give you A, B, C, and D. The law stating that the direct current flowing in a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference between its end is A, Faraday's law, B, Ohm's law, C, Lorentz force law, or D, Ampere's law.
with Ohm's Law. W1FRD, Fred.
Anyone want to challenge Fred? Fred, you're absolutely correct. The answer is B, Ohm's Law. Thanks, folks, for hanging out on the Anti-Net tonight and being part of the greatest YouTube channel there is, Ham Radio TV. I'm going to throw the lever and turn the knob that returns the repeater back to normal operation. And thank you all for being out here. 7-3, N6 CMB, Chris in Clayton, California. We'll see you on Zoom.
All right, you should be able to unmute yourself. And don't forget about turning down your radios.
And your mic gain.
Oh, for me?
For me.
Oh.
You sound good, man.
All right, good.
We like it when you're loud, Nick.
Yeah, boom into it.
We like it.
Hey, Ryan's not in his little Space Central control shack.
And,
I'm outside monitoring 40 meters.
As we all should be.
I as soon as I got on the radio, I was on 20 meters and I tuned around and I heard Hawaii, and he wasn't using any kind of amplifier. He was just using 100 watts into a 20-meter loop.
Wow.
Yeah, we get some good propagation over that direction. That's for sure. It's tough picking that stuff up on the East Coast, though.
It's like he came in and then he started to fade out.
Cool.
Yeah, 40 meter works great.
We gotta see if we can get Bobby in here. He promised he was going to join the Zoom, right?
Well, yeah, we might be able to get Bobby and Ted at the same time.
Yeah, I think they're over there. I think Ted's over at Bobby's now.
Doing some code plugs. Uh-oh. Here he comes. Should I let him in?
Make him sweat it out for a little bit.
Oh, I didn't change my ID. I got to put my call up.
Should we tell him that his microphone's off?
Bobby, looking good. There's Mr. Ted.
Ted, what's up, buddy?
I see you got the Corona haircut there, Ted.
They really are muted.
They did.
And Bobby, yeah. Bobby is keeping it fresh. Yeah, so Bobby, we can't hear you guys. Just heads up. Maybe go to the bottom left of the screen where you see a microphone. Click on that caret and then see about what microphone you can select. Sometimes your computer will select something virtual or it doesn't even exist. So check out what microphone you're using.
Or use one of the ones behind you. Just grab one and push the button.
Start talking on things.
I prefer the one from the realistic.
How about that one?
There we go.
You guys hear us?
Now you're in.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
And I see new guy Eric showed up, one of our new hands. Look at him.
Is that Big E down in Concord?
So many radios. You know what? No, we're listening to. Hold on a sec, guys. We got 2MC in the background there. There we go.
Yeah, you want
to you anyway, Bobby. We're talking to Eric.
Hold on.
Bert. I think Bert, is that mustache for me?
How about that? All right, now we're back. We're good. Come on, Ted. Don't be shy. I've seen you before.
Is Ted camera shy? There he is.
Well, can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we got you, Roy.
You're there, Roy.
Good.
Hey, Bert's got a mustache too.
Yeah. Were you guys on last week, or you just did bypass? Because one week I'll catch you, one week I'll miss you.
You know what? That's just a little coincidental. So last week we had the fires, and we just said we're not going to use the repeater. Keep it open.
Yeah, I was figuring with the fires, you guys in the repeater.
Yeah.
The flashlight right there.
And the week before I was on vacation, and the week before I was I was celebrating an anniversary, so you really want to make sure you're subscribed to the Northwest Ham Shack. Nick up there. I don't know if that way. If Nick is right there, that's the logo. That's the YouTube channel. So Nick runs it when I'm not available. And what Eric is this? I see Eric 3.
It is, I think. No, it's my buddy. Oh.
Jason.
Yeah.
It's KAH.
Ah, KAH. Nice to finally put a face to the call. Aren't you Eric 2, though?
My name is Eric, yes.
I know, but
I don't know why it says that. I don't know what that is.
Okay, not a problem.
He can just be Eric as well.
Hey, did you guys? Hi, Molly. Did you guys hear Bert on our club radio the other night? New member, signed in, checked in, DVR.
I had my first check-in last as well, and then on the Zoom, and then.
Oh, you made the Zoom too. Cool.
I think we're gonna have to talk to Ryan and get him to behave so his parents will let him back in the house.
Look at that sticker, though. I don't have one of those. Nice sticker.
I know he might be one of the most behaved young men around.
Are you, Bobby? Are you cheering? Bobby, are you cheering the camera? Cheersing the camera?
I was showing you my two cans.
Ah.
Hey, Bobby Lee.
Hey, I wanted to make a comment about something that was said on the chat before we turned the radio off about the backup power for your house.
Yeah.
Well, I was reading, somebody said if you could use a transfer, and I hope people are listening on YouTube because this really matters, and I don't want anybody to get hurt, hurt themselves, somebody else, or something at their home. There was a comment on there, and the individual who made the comment, I'm sure you know how to do it, and I'm not questioning your ability, but I'm cautioning everybody to, if you use a generator and you backfeed your house through your dryer plug, that's got to be really careful. Not only do you got to make sure you don't draw too much current through it, you got to make darn sure your mains coming from the street are turned off, because two things can happen. If you forget to turn that breaker off, and I'm telling you, people do. I do this for a living, so trust me, it happens. They forget to turn that breaker off, and you're putting in your generator is kicking out. You say you used your 220 in your dryer plug. Now the guys working on the lines out there, they're not seeing 120 or 220 or whatever it is. They're seeing whatever that transformer is stepping it up to on your pole in front of your house or in that vault in front of your house. So now it's 12,000 or 24,000, and that could actually seriously injure or kill somebody. So let's just assume that you did remember to turn that breaker off and you are backfeeding your house. The dryer plugs, and this is critical, some dryer plugs do not have real neutrals. They're the two hots go back to the 2-pole breaker, and that center wire is not always connected correctly to the white neutral back at the box. Sometimes I've seen them wired, and the guy just put it to the case ground, which may or may not be bonded correctly. So be really careful using the 220 plug to backfeed your house if you don't really know what you're doing. And I'll end that with this. If you know how and you're doing it and you've checked your circuits and you're comfortable, go ahead. If you're not, please don't do it. And if you're interested in learning how to hook up what's called a critical load center, I've seen them sold with Generac generators at, I can't remember if it was Sam's Club or Price Club. And those are reasonably easy to hook up, on your own. Just to be clear, I'm not volunteering anybody to come over and help you, but I am saying if anybody out there has questions, I'd be happy to steer you in the right direction. I can't come over and do it for everybody, but I just feel like I need to let you know to be really careful. I've got 2 or 3 people right this second that we're putting real transfer switches at their homes. And that's the right way to do it, but not everybody can afford to do that. So a critical load circuit, you can buy them on Amazon for under $200. So you can run up to 4, even 6 circuits off your 30. You say you go buy the Predator generator, the big one that, out the door, it's $900 with the electric start, the battery, the cart, and everything. That thing will do about 7,200 watts continuous, which is about 30 amps, which is the maximum that dryer plug will typically handle. So if that's what you're going to do, please be careful. We don't want anything bad to happen to you. I'm not picking on the comment because it is a true statement. Just be really, really careful. And if you got questions, maybe not tonight, but we can go offline and we can talk about it and at least give you direction so that you know what to look for, and then you can hire an electrician to help you. That's all. Just want you to be safe, everybody.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with if you don't have that and you have a generator, use good common sense, or maybe not common sense, but good practice, and run some extension cords to those things that you need to run until you can maybe have a more professional setup done. And you'll be a lot safer doing that than you will be if you maybe try to unprofessionally backfeed your electric box.
Backfeeding can be scary.
I was really surprised by all these guys that had really nice generator setups and never fired them up when they lost power.
Mine got stolen, Chris, so somebody else is using mine.
They probably fired it up.
Yeah, they're having a great time with it at their homeless camp somewhere, I think. Yeah. I didn't lock that shed in the back of my house for 22 years. It's connected to my house, in my backyard. The door's closed. It's not labeled. There's no electrical box on the outside of it, so you can't even tell what it is.
It doesn't say generator room?
No, it doesn't. No. I hadn't put that sign up yet. And, they just politely unplugged it. And I didn't have to unplug it. I had it unplugged. Opened the door, rolled it out the same gate. I take my trash out and then put it in the back trunk of a car. And we caught everything on video. Even the neighbor's cameras got them, put it in the trunk of their car. So somebody has a 10 kW generator on wheels with electric start.
And how old was it?
8 months.
Oh.
I bought it just before the power turnoffs last summer, and I used it once, but it wasn't because of the rolling blackout. Somebody crashed into a pole or something. But yeah. So I hope they're enjoying it. It's pretty nice.
So, Kevin, how's my audio? I made some adjustments.
It's more better.
Okay, yeah, I think I was just powering Zoom too much. And
Zoom. Jason, we like you and your stash, but Zoom can't handle it. It's just too much.
I know.
What's up? Hey, sorry, Jason. It's up to Tina and your girls, man. I think they're going to be your deciding votes.
Oh yeah, you only listen a certain percentage to your family.
Remember the saying, Jason, happy wife, happy life.
Oh yeah, give and take. Hey, I wanna hear from Eric real quick. Eric number 3. Although we call him Eric 2 or E, Big E, when the other Eric, our Sacramento friend that goes 4-wheeling, is on the air. But Eric, tell us a little bit about yourself. I think it's pretty cool, and you're really hitting the ground running with the hobby.
Yeah. Well, first, let me ask a question.
Yeah.
I'll tell you all about myself and my gig. Let me ask a question. Maybe it was just me, but so I was watching the net on my computer and listening with the computer volume down, listening on the FTM 400, and every time someone would key up, perfectly clear, but when they're not keyed, I heard other people talking. Did you guys hear that?
Yes.
Other net like
I didn't, but it's a known issue.
Oh,
there's another repeater out there.
Dual repeater or something. We're picking up cross something, right?
Yep.
Okay.
It's another repeater a little ways away, and we haven't got our satellite laser aimed at them correctly yet. So
yeah.
They're antenna.
Okay. Bobby was explaining that to me with the repeaters, and sometimes they. Okay. So anyway, about myself, born and raised. I was born in San Francisco, raised in Contra Costa County, Lafayette, Walnut Creek right now, under the 3.3 repeater. Brand new ham. I've been monitoring since before COVID started. I got the Uniden 436 as a scanner. I got that first, and then my first radio was the handheld FT-70 from Bobby's my mentor. I've known Bobby for a long time, so I have that going for me. Bobby set me up, so I'm a little bit spoiled. I wouldn't know what to do with the old school radios, but I had the FT-70, and then I got the FTM 400, and then I got the Wires X with the HRI 200, and then I also have the George Foreman and the dual band VHF UHF 2750, I think, in the truck. So I got that going. I was just on AmericaLink earlier tonight talking to some of the guys on the East Coast. Yeah, Texas, all those boys, they got big problems over there. So I checked in with AmericaLink tonight, and then I knew you guys would be here at 7 o'clock. In the very beginning, Jason, I was relentless with the videos, right? I probably have the first 3 months, 400 hours of videos that I watched. I watched you guys a lot. I watched Derek. I watched it all, right? And then I never really joined in at the end because I got so much going on here. But I'm getting here now.
Well, awesome. It's great to have you. So would you say Bobby is what, got you to the place to take the test? Because I feel like sometimes that's the last push you got to get is going and taking the test.
Yeah, absolutely. So Bobby's my mentor, my main mentor. Whenever I have a problem, I go to him. He pushed me a little bit. I had a couple of medical issues, which we won't go into that, but studying was hard for me. Plus, I'm getting older. My studying habits aren't so good, so it was a little bit tough for me. I'm not real familiar. It was a little tough. I got a little push. I failed it the first time, and actually, I saw Chris there. Chris was taking his general, and and then I passed it, and so now I have to learn everything. It's a great adventure. When I was really young, we were starting to do our Morse code. Our 5th grade teacher, I think, her husband was a old school ham.
Wow.
So we started on Morse code. Something happened. We were all going to get our test. Something happened. I think his health is what happened. He couldn't do it. So I never went, or else I'd be an old school boy like you guys.
Well, there's a lot of us in here that are not old school. Let's see here. I can speak for Bert, myself, Ryan, Nick, Fred. I think you're fairly newly licensed, right?
Yeah, I think it's 4 years now.
4 years? Yeah, so the majority of us in here, and I think that's what makes it so fun, and we really try to keep ourselves very approachable. And we're on Zoom. Anybody can join if you're watching us live on YouTube. But we're all kind of in it together. We're all new. We're learning. And I think we have a lot of energy. That's what makes it so much fun, is we're all very much excited. We're not too stale or stagnant yet in our lives because, sometimes you talk to a ham that's been doing it for 40 years and had to walk to the San Francisco FCC office, uphill in the snow both ways, no shoes. Sometimes that individual is not the most motivative one. But anyways, let me kind of open it up. Does anyone... looks like Ryan is about to launch the missiles in his bunker. But, yeah. What would we like to talk about tonight? Should we keep the fire conversation going, or does anybody have any questions? I mean, we got a handful of people in here that could probably answer something.
Smoke situation over here is finally cleared for I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna stay like this for the next couple of days. Because if it is, I'm definitely going. I'm definitely going up to Mount Diablo if that happens. Because September is the next VHF contest.
Oh.
So you get up there with the yellow Yagi and work everything there.
Now, are you in a Connex box right now, Ryan? Do you know what I mean? A shipping
even know.
container? Are you in a shipping container? That's what it reminds me of.
No, this is my cork board. This is where I keep my house.
Well, I'm looking at the ceiling. I'm looking at the ceiling with the ribbing. It looks way
thing
cool.
I think you're under your bed. You're under your bunk bed, right?
Yeah.
You lifted your bed. You lofted your bed.
That's awesome.
And made yourself a cool radio room underneath it.
Good job,
Yeah,
Dad.
kinda, because I don't really have like desk space to put a radio here right now.
You know how I know that?
And plus, I can't run any kind of coax outside
Right.
without drilling holes into the wall. I'm looking at this thing that Common Antenna has made. It's like a thing. It's like a window adapter, and you're supposed to put it in between like a window and a screen, and you can like continue closing the window and opening it. And it's like the material's meant to get pinched, but that coax can still be passed through. So I'm looking at that, and just in case I mount anything on the roof, I can bring it down here, and then
We're sending you a drill and a file. Okay.
And then I can plug the radio into the computer and then easily do digital modes right here, 10 meters, CW.
Kevin recognized that because he's got the same arrangement.
I do. And I have kids in college too. They did the exact same thing. Hey, I have a question for Ryan though. Were you talking about the connector pass? It's a pass through, and it's on a piece of I guess it's metal, and you can get them with UHF and BNC connectors on them, and then it has a little piece of like weather stripping or sealing on each side, and you open your window, you put it in, you close your window back on it, and put the little piece of wood and the little safety screw thing so nobody can open your window. Is that what you're talking about?
So it's kind of like, something like that. Something like what?
Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's something like that. I just need to like fit it through. The screen door. So I have to like take out the screen, put the thing in.
Jason, find the other one. That it's literally that. I think that's it. That's it right there.
That's what I'm looking at. Yeah.
Those are cool.
Because I can't like run
right
like coax directly through the thing and still have like the window closed.
Oh, I understand. That's a very good way to do it. I think Jason should buy you one, send it to you.
Yeah, I've got similar problems. You've got parents, I've got a wife. It's a tough world.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to put up a wire antenna because like around the yard, but I can't do that because the neighbors are really RF noisy.
Oh.
Tell them to move.
Dang it.
Like I tested it. Like I took my PL660 with like a little whip and I held it up to the fence, and then there was just noise blasting in.
Question, Ryan, do you have overhead power lines in your area?
And apparently, I don't live near any power lines. And apparently, our alarm control panel emits like the most noise in the house. Like if you were to take like a radio an HF radio of any kind, tune it to like any frequency, you bring the antenna close to it, it's just like you hear blasts. You have like a blast of noise, and I turned down the gain on my receiver and I still heard it. It was like way over the signal meter that the thing could display.
And what radio do you like to use for this RF DFing?
So I might use my GP5 because it's smaller and it has it's much smaller, so I don't have to like carry the thing and then I have to walk with the thing and then worry about the antenna, flipping down.
Got it.
GP5 gas mask.
Yeah, I typed in GP5. Yeah. I'll share my screen. Yeah, so you got this little guy here.
It's one of those things, yeah.
Very cool.
No, it's very similar to the Texan PL365.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I know you got a few of these toys, and that's really cool for finding noisy stuff in your house, especially when dealing with HF, of course.
Yeah, and I just just set it outside and listen. And I also have this like conversion cable, so you have, your regular SO239 coax on one end, and then that brings it to the mono plug, and then you plug that into the radio, and so now you can connect any kind of HF antenna that you want to that radio. The transceiver I'm looking at is the 7100 because it has 2 meters in it, and it has all the HF bands. So at some point I get an HF antenna, then I can use that with that radio.
Hey, Fred in the chat's asking, do solar panels cause?
No, they do. Now, my biggest RF problem is my broadband router, and then the solar panels on the neighbor's house.
Yeah, and Mike's...
Your router can emit harmonics to go down to HF.
Yeah, as far as solar panels, it really depends on the manufacturer and if you're utilizing a micro inverter or a centralized inverter. I have 28 panels with a central inverter, and it's right behind me. And as far as my noise level, it for the most part stays the same if I turn it on or turn it off. So the central inverter seems to be using decent amount of parts in there. I mean, I paid quite a bit of money using Solar City, which is now Tesla Solar, so that probably depends also, where you buy the components, how well they're designed and engineered. But the idea of the micro inverters is you have a whole bunch of these inverters, because the solar panels themselves are not going to necessarily create the noise. It's the electronics that then will take the DC and turn it into AC, the switching. And so if your roof is laced with cheap micro inverters, I've heard people have issues with those. So it just, your mileage will always vary with that. Right, and Alan in the chat is backing up what I'm saying here. Not so much the panels, but it's the circuitry and when it converts it.
Microinverters are difficult to have battery backup too, because when your inverter is on the side of your house and they run the DC down to the side, then you can have your controller and your batteries right there. No, those big ones like Jason has are typically quieter.
Yeah, and we talked about some emergency stuff tonight and generators and whatever, and I should throw this out there. Just because you have solar panels does not mean you'll be able to operate if the utility company turns you off. Unless you have batteries or a system in place, once you're off, you're off. In other words, these inverters need, to keep it simple, backfed to turn on and create the solar. So you really have to start to get creative with that. And I looked into utilizing a generator to backfeed it and get the solar up and running. But the problem with that is the thing about the grid is it does magical things in that it will go back to the grid and back to you. So as you're using electricity and your solar panels are producing electricity, and then you have that generator, okay? So if you turn everything on your house, the solar panels and now the generator are going to work very hard to keep you maintaining where you need to be for your electricity. If you then turn everything off, the solar panels are still producing electricity. The generator then will bring itself down as low as it can, and the problem is the solar panels need to put the electricity somewhere, and a lot of times that will go into your generator and create major problems. Could even be a fire. So, word of caution. Backfeeding and turning on solar panels with a generator can be very risky business. So just, heads up with that, because, a lot of guys, we're pretty good. I think we're pretty good as hams. We could make all sorts of cables and wire stuff up, and we probably, for the most part in the hobby, we know just enough to kind of get ourselves in trouble. Like Tim Allen from Home Improvement, favorite show growing up. You ever watch that, Ryan? Home Improvement?
No.
You need to catch up on those.
Yeah.
Fred, where are you? I know you're mobile at rest.
Yeah, I'm at Vaca Christian School. The kid is they're performing the score for a silent movie, and because of COVID-19, they got a blow-up screen. It's going to be on the lawn, and it's this Friday and Saturday night, so they're practicing into the evening here. It's like 7 to 9 every night, and I'm just waiting for the boy to get off his practice, and just sitting here in the parking lot with my phone.
Very good. Excellent. And how about you, Chris? How is the new ham shack? Have you moved it out of the previous location?
No. Yes, I've moved it out. So I've got all the gear out of the. Well, I actually dragged the 97 back out here to the kitchen today, and started moving it into the new shack. And I'm basically living off HTs. I've got like 9 HTs going between all the digital modes, and a couple hooked up to repeaters and whatever that I monitor all the time. So
where is the shack going to be? Where's the future shack?
It's going to be in an office on the other side of the house. So
Okay.
what was just my office is now going to double as a shack as well. And that's sort of where the challenge is I need to do all the cable runs from the antenna farm in the backyard now to the shack, which is at the front of the house. So I need to decide, am I going through the basement or through the attic? And, I need to probably watch the video that you guys did with Kevin on, kind of making sure the cable runs are the right lengths and what kind of cable I use. Do I want to get some ladder line out? All those kinds of things. It all needs to happen. The anti-gravity battery, those are light, aren't they? Don't take much to pick those.
Eric is giving a tour of us. Is that is that where you sit and operate when I talk to you?
Yeah, that's my dining room.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's my shack, my dining room.
There's nothing to ever be worried about where your shack is. It can be in so many different places. I mean, for me, I'm here in the garage, which is great. I mean, it's 80 and I got fans on, but boy, when it gets hot or when it gets cold, so that's always nice to be inside.
I really like how you said antenna farm, Chris. I'm going to start using that because that's a really strong indicator that not only is that the location of antennas, but it's going to grow like a farm.
Exactly.
So it really sets the stage because I'm running into some issues with that. So that's good info there.
But
yeah, it's not the last couple of antennas. They keep spawning back there, and they keep going to the ground, and a new one sprouts up now and again.
But Chris, I mean, I know you like to do things right. You got a Harley, you got a Ford truck, but I'm pretty sure your antenna area is more like an antenna garden.
Yeah, well, I don't have enough room for a true farm. That is a problem. But in the future, I'm going to. I think there's a tower in my future.
Ooh.
Trying to determine whether I want to just have a kind of set height or whether I want to have a one that I can put up, above the 30-foot limit here in Concord, because you can have a temporary structure. So I could run something up 45, 50 feet, and just as long as I'm able to lower it, below that 30-foot limit. That's sort of what I'm considering.
Just remember, Chris, bigger and louder is better.
Right? I mean, you got to go big or go home, right? You can't.
Yeah, you got to go big. Yeah.
Now, you've seen the ones with a winch, right? Those are pretty high end, where you can, run the winch, and what the winch does is it has pulleys, and so it'll extend your tower.
Yeah, I like that, and that's sort of what I'm looking at is the extension. If I went with a fixed height, I actually like the one that has the little tram that runs around the outside, so everything, you can lower it all the way down on the tram, all your antennas and stuff, which is pretty slick as well.
Okay.
But that only gets you up to that sort of fixed height. The one with the winch, that'd be nice to be able to maybe go up to, sort of. I think if I get up down here, I'm at about 400 foot, up the hill, and I've got my 510 up, probably like 40 feet or so, maybe 45, and that does pretty good. I seem to hear good and get out good. So if I can start getting stuff up into that 45, 50 foot range, I think I'll do okay.
Yeah, you can
otherwise
hear.
I have to buy a new house.
You can hear so good. You're hearing other repeater systems. Now, along with that, I know you've tried this. What kind of success do you have when you go into the encode decode? So, in other words, you're taking the PL both ways. You're sending it, and you're making the PL have to be there to break through the radio. Will that work for you, or because of the tail squelch?
I have not programmed that into the radio, so that may be a big change, and that may be some of it. But yeah, I mean, those guys for me, and it sounds like Eric's sort of the same way. You know, I'm getting you guys at just over an S9, the VVR repeater, but they're coming in at like an S8, so it's really strong. And you know, I can pretty much listen to their whole net if I want to.
I did that when I was in Roseville. I programmed the PL on both sides, and it eliminated the problem for me. So
the good news is they're hearing me quite a bit when they do it.
Well, that's what I told Chris today, because we were talking a little bit on the side, and I said maybe you need a low level VVR antenna, because you should be able to hear VVR with a HT maybe.
Yeah, just barely. I need maybe just a little like mag mount or something, a little bit better than an HT.
Well, that's what I mean. If you put an antenna outside 6 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to comment on the PL thing real quick. Nick got lucky because the VVR repeater was capturing your receiver better than the other one. In Chris's case, where the other one is actually strong, and in some cases stronger than the VVR, it won't do that. So think of it like this. You have a PL, RPL is 127.3, right? And their PL, I don't know what it is, but maybe it's 100. Let's just say it's 100. So you set it up, so RPL is 127.3, so it opens your receiver at 127.3, but now it's open for whatever's there,
right?
With or without the right PL, so you're still going to hear it. So when our repeater's not speaking, you'll be fine. But as soon as the repeater puts the right PL out, even if it's underneath it, long as if they've captured for the most part, captured your receiver, and we're sneaking our PL in there, and it opens it. And we're in there when we're mixing. Do you hear them kind of like two stations talking at the same time, kind of a thing? Is that what it sounds like?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like they're doubling, is what I end up.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. See, I have that here, and what I'm doing here at my house is I have the 440 repeater up on my tower that we use in Fairfield, and I have a 4-element beam. I took it off the omnidirectional and put on a 4-element beam, and that solved a lot of it, and it still gets in sometimes. So what I'm going to do is
what's the etiquette here, like with coordinators and stuff? But first of all, it seems like something changed on their side. Like they might be putting out more power than, like, they added some equipment or changed an antenna.
It could be, man. It's unfortunate that you live on the outside edge. If you drew a circle around here, here's our repeater, and here's their repeater. Here's the circle.
And I'm right on the...
Chris lives here.
Yeah.
In the middle. So you're hearing us at S8, S9. You're hearing them at S8, S9. And we have to coexist.
Yeah.
So if he got
do folks ever like communicate and say, hey, let's would you guys consider moving a net date or time so we don't have conflicts and stuff?
Absolutely. We actually got a letter from somebody way down there. I don't even know who it was. They did do something, and I don't know what. And I can't remember what they were saying that our mobiles were interfering with their members' receives. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. How is our mobiles getting into your? I mean, are you maybe hearing our repeater, and we're maybe hearing yours? But are you kidding me? A mobile from Vacaville is bothering your repeater down on the other side of San Jose or something.
Now, what if Chris got a nice something directional?
Yeah. Get a beam and aim it towards us, and then what'll happen? So let's say you take it from S9 to 10 or 15, 20 over, and now this repeater will just capture your receiver.
Right.
And the other guys will be on the back side of your beam, so there'll be however many dB down they
They'll
are.
be down S3, S5 or something. So
Yeah, whatever the thing will do for you. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it is a great example. I had the George Foreman grill out as a replacement for the 9700, and the problem I was having with that last week or 2 weeks ago when I was trying to do it, I could turn the squelch, essentially, try to drown them out with the squelch. I couldn't do it. I would still get overlap in both of everybody, where with the 9700 I'm able to fine tune and set things up so that I can kind of knock them out using that, the
right.
and everything.
Well, depending on how we want to run this net in the future, technically, for control operators and net coordinators such as yourself and Jason and also Nick, we could set it up to where you guys are using radioless nodes. So right. your super cool audio is going right into the node. I made one here and the things work great. I'm not using mine now, but that way it doesn't matter. You are going right into the repeater. You're just bypassing the radio at your house. We'll use the AllStar to get you, and we'll inject you into the side of the repeater at full tilt boogie, and then it won't matter.
Yeah, and I guess we could. It's interesting because I don't hear them otherwise. I listen to the VVR like most of the day. I have it on, and I don't hear it happening. So they're not that active on that repeater. I don't think.
It's just we coincide with nighttime nets and stuff.
Yeah, I think the other night when we had the club net, they had like a digital thing going on, and that's a real annoying one, right?
That net goes on, starts before ours, and ends about the same time, or even sometimes I think they have a tech net or something that goes after.
It's like a tech net, and then a digital net, and then a regular net or something. They go on for a long time.
They got give them credit for that. They got stuff going.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Truthfully, I have no idea whose net night came first. I don't know. I have no idea. So we just have to live with it.
Net wars.
And, along with kind of what we've been talking about here is, recently a couple repeaters in our area have been receiving some jamming. So some people that are just keying up, playing Bofang sirens, recordings, movies. Yeah, you name it. We've been kind of hearing it. I don't know if people are getting stir crazy with the COVID, but a couple of things that we've noticed. So, some people are keying the repeater and other people just exist on the output. And I know, maybe for newer hams and just getting into the hobby, that doesn't quite, make sense. But exactly what Kevin was alluding to, that you'll notice some of these jammers will only be there when someone keys up. So someone keys up the repeater essentially opens their door. Now, the person that's keyed up talking will either be stronger or weaker than said jammer. If they're weaker, you'll hear the jammer. If they're stronger, you'll only hear the jammer when they pause or on their tail, their squelch tail, essentially when they kind of let go there for a few seconds. So it's very interesting to hear because, in the beginning, I didn't even fully understand what was what because, you can buy these, of course, Bofangs, $25, and you can go, oh, it's this repeater. It's this frequency, and you type it in, and that all that is, of course, the output. So kind of interesting stuff to share with other people that maybe have heard that and not sure exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I got a question about that.
Yeah.
So when they like so-called ride the coattails, right, or they're riding the tails, so there's only an input and an output. How are they riding the tail? I don't get that. I mean, how do they only get in when I key up? I mean, because
you're opening the door.
On the input.
You're opening the door. So because
they have the frequency, right?
Well, in some cases they don't understand what a PL tone is. They don't understand what that is. So they could be transmitting simply on the output. They could be also on the input, because that's gonna then, obviously the repeater is listening on the input and transmitting on the output, and because somebody is opening the door, and that's where a strong signal or a weak signal will come into play. If you got a weak signal opening the door, you could be scratchy. You hear people, right? You'll key up, all you hear is that weak signal. The door is now open. If someone is local, you'll hear whatever's coming across their microphone.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for saying that. That was great. That's good info.
Yeah, I kind of assumed there would be a handful of people out there, and I mean, shoot, we all start somewhere, and the more we know, the better it helps us. And another thing too, I'll say is, giving signal reports on the repeater, the only time you can really do that is if you do flip your radio over to the input, so that you're listening to the input frequency, not the repeater itself. You can't give signal reports. You can give people, let them know if they're all the way in, if they're clear, if they're strong. But if you say, hey, you're S9, well, that's the repeater strength. That's not the station transmitting to the repeater.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah, I was schooled on that. Bobby schooled me on that. When he gets close, you take the antenna off, put the Miracle Baby on. That means he's right there. And if you're on top of him, you take the antenna off, and that means you're right there. I've been listening to that guy for 6 months. Jeez Louise.
I did want to
quiet lately.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kevin.
Quick comment about the malicious transmissions. If you hear them, don't talk about them. If you can talk between you and your other station, and even though you hear them, and it may or may not, cause a little bit of loss of intelligence on your transmission, but don't talk to them and don't talk about them. Just talk to each other. Because if we give them an audience, they'll want to perform. And if we don't give them an audience, it does. Sometimes some of them actually get madder, and some of them just stop. But the bottom line is we don't want to encourage them by talking to them.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Too. As a matter of fact, my fellow ham N6NFF, same club I am in, he mentioned the same thing. Don't talk about it because you're
just so you know, there's a group of people out there. We know where a couple of the signals are coming from. We don't know exactly who it is, but we know. And we've had a couple of coordinates come in the last week that are unbelievably accurate based on our assumptions. So know that people are paying attention, and let's just not encourage those people. Now, even if they're people that we know they've given their call sign and they're still being malicious or using foul language, they're degrading, they're belittling, they're just doing things that are unbecoming of amateur, unbecoming of an individual. Just don't entertain them, and move on. Because guys, if we do, it'll never stop. And at this point, there's a handful of people that know what they're doing, that are they're paying attention.
I've noticed great success. If you can piece together a conversation and keep it rolling, you'll just frustrate that person that's trying to interfere. And that actually kind of will move us into possibly next week. I'm going to try to get either Kevin, I know you've got some goodies. I've got a few other guests. I'm not sure if they're available, but not really talk about jammers, but talk about more directional finding, because this is something that's been part of the hobby for a very long time, almost a sport. And, in past years here in Vacaville, we've actually hid transmitters in a park and then walked around with HTs to find them. And that was a lot of fun. And I think hopefully maybe the next few months we can get that going before the rain comes. That'd be a lot of fun. And it's an outdoor activity. So I think we should be fine with the current situation.
Oh, it's an absolute blast, folks. And Jason and I spoke about this briefly. It's my opinion that we start out with do something like we did in the big park area. hide a couple of them, and you learn to do it with your HT or your little portable antennas. We'll show you how to make shielding tubes, body shielding. We'll show you how to do all that. Then you can go learn how it works and go find the thing in a park, and we'll have make hamburgers and hot dogs because that's the main reason we go there. It's for the food, and we'll do that. And then when we're done, we'll plan another one that somebody actually goes out with like a 5-watt radio or something and hides, and they transmit for 1 minute and they're quiet for 4 minutes. Transmit for 1 and they're quiet, and we go find the real person that's somewhere, but it's not 1,000 or 2,000 feet away. It might be on the other side of town. We don't know.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that.
That is so fun to do.
Yeah, that sounds exciting.
Hey, so I want to say hello to Rhett real quick. How's it going, man? We haven't seen you in a little bit.
Hey there. Just cruising around on YouTube, and earlier today I lit up my rain gutter. Fascinating. I only have room in my backyard for a 4010 end-fed half wave, and which is working well. Not quite where I wanted as far as height, but I've been interested in the gutter, and have made all sorts of contacts tonight, transmitting 100 watts on my gutter.
Wow. And so what kind of tuner do you have then?
It's just the built-in tuner on the ICOM 7300.
Okay.
I did a SWR test on 80 meters on the gutter, and the highest across the bandwidth was about 3-to-1 SWR. So nailed it, which is exactly what I was looking for. I need to do a little bit, I think, to maybe put a choke on the coax coming into the shack. Might have a little bit too much RF coming in. I'm not sure. The noise was a little loud, but yeah, no complaints.
So
30 off the gutter.
You're using coax, and you're running that out, and then you split it, right, from the center core to the shield.
No, I don't even split it. It's connected to an LDR 9-to-1 unknown.
Okay.
And the unknown's got the antenna is just screwed right into the gutter, and the ground is attached to the service ground off the electricity running into the house.
Wow.
Jason, these ICOMs hardly even need antennas.
I mean, it's absolutely. I had to laugh. I mean, I wasn't expecting anything, but yeah, I started making. I was on a net earlier, and about 35 people calling into the Century net, and approximately 30% of those were calling out to me to get contact. So yeah.
How far was your? How far furthest was your contact?
The furthest, I don't have my log in front of me, but probably Ohio.
Really?
And remind us again where you're at.
Yeah, from North Carolina.
North Carolina, yeah.
Yeah.
Still good. That's great.
Wow. Well, that's awesome, man. That is exciting.
That's inspirational for me when I go HF someday. Thanks.
Fun stuff. I mean, it's I've been enjoying the infed half wave wire across the backyard. Very solid. I've only been on HF for 2 weeks. Tons of contacts, digital.
Yeah.
And on 40 meters and 20 meters going up and down the East Coast with that, and which was great. But I felt like I was missing out on 80 meters, and the gutter appears to be delivering. So. Yeah.
And you're on a single story or 2-story house?
2-story house.
2-story house.
And the gutter wraps all around the front side of the house, to the side, and all across the back.
So it's
it's a solid gutter all the way around the house.
It's a random long wire, essentially, because it's an unknown length.
With that 9-to-1, yeah.
An in-fed gutter.
Yeah. So how do you think you're gonna fare when it rains?
Well, when it rains, I'm going to unplug it. When I was very cautious on the transmit, I was like, if I hit this transmit, am I going to catch the house on fire?
What wattage?
I don't know.
What wattage did you start at? Were you?
I started at 50 watts.
Ooh, that's pretty brave.
Well, yeah, and it's grounded. And then I boosted up to 100, and it was fine.
Wow,
that's cool. I'd be curious from Nick. Nick, did you do an antenna with a smaller wire, and did you experiment with that?
So I have a fan dipole up right now. I still need to swap coax on it, but I have I'm running 22 gauge wire, bare copper, or it's not bare copper, it's enameled copper wire. So I've got an 80 meter dipole, a 40 meter, and a 20 meter cut to length running across my house, and you can't even see the antenna. You can be driving around our entire neighborhood and you just can't see it up in the air. So that's what I needed, because it's an HOA and we're not supposed to have any antennas, and it's hanging about the roof line of my house, but coming off of it, so it's all open air, and it seems to be performing okay. I was able to talk for about a 45-minute conversation with Rob down in Auburn, California the other night, so it's working.
How many gigawatts does it handle?
I haven't tested its power limits yet. You have the keys to that car right now.
Actually, Chris does, man. He's the man.
Yeah.
Gigawatts.
Awesome. How about we have Michael? It says Michael iPad. How are you tonight? And where are you from? Where are you calling from?
I'm up here in Massachusetts, a little town called Norton, about 25 miles south of Boston.
All right. Well, you're up pretty late tonight.
Yeah, it's tonight.
Excellent. And what kind of things do you like within the hobby? Are you on local repeaters
I got
or
in '89?
Wow.
So I've been going a while.
Yeah.
And, sometimes I'm in, sometimes I'm out. But lately, I've been in. With the couple of years ago, I started doing the digital thing.
Okay.
And because I built a new house and I didn't have antennas up, so that got me kind of relivened up using HTs and hotspots and all of that. So I since have sold that house. Now I'm back at my other house, so I have a ham station here. So.
Which digital modes do you like to use, Mike?
I tried them all, and I basically kicked back to Fusion, C4FM. So I ended up, when I got into it, I started with a open spot and, a couple HTs, and I tried the different modes. And then I ended up, I probably have a half a dozen hotspots now. And I ended up getting one of the repeaters from Yaesu. So I have that with the HRI 200, and so I have that set up with a 440. So I have that.
So what brought you to that one as being like the lead out? Was it the way that the digital mode works, or the quality, or was it more about the people in the rooms, or whatever, the reflectors that were available to you?
No, there's nice people on all of them, no doubt about that. But it was just, you grab an FT-70 and a hotspot and you're on quick, and the audio is really good. It's clean, it's easy, it's quick, and so I just kept going. Like the DMI, you got to do code plugs and different things unless you cross mode and do things like that. But I just found the rooms easier to get into, and the FCS and the YSF, and then I went from there and got into the YSX end of it. So that's actually like a little better quality than doing the FSF and the YSF.
Right. Yeah, I think, I've tried a couple of them now, DMR and D-Star and Fusion, and I think Yaesu is the easiest to kind of get going on and connect and menu. And Bobby's smiling because he knows that I'm a sucker for D-Star too. But I think at the end of the day, they have the one that's the easiest to get connected to. and could eventually get some momentum out of that. What do you think, Bobby?
I knew you were going to be bummed when he said Yaesu. Oh, I know Chris wanted him to say D-Star. But
I did try D-Star, and I did like it, but that was, you had to do like where you register the radio, and if you like, I swap radios out quite often, so they like to know which radio you're on, and then you got to go to the different letters as well as the rooms. So, but I did have a good group on there, and I guess too, like somebody mentioned the people. So I found a good group of guys that do nets pretty regularly, and they do very informative questions and run the nets nice, and you learn a lot, and they're always there to help you. And so between the ease and the quality and all of that, and of course, how can you beat, like, you buy an FT-70 Black Friday, they were $125. You get a little open spot or a zoom spot, and you're on, pretty inexpensively.
Yeah, what's your favorite broom?
I use QSO America.
Okay, check
There's
it
a
out.
bunch of guys that I found that by going to first America Link, which is like totally busy. You want to talk around the world, that's a great one, but it's always busy.
Right.
With weather reports.
Yeah. Yeah. So I ended up on QSO America, and they come in, they link through Wires X as well. They have a nice bunch of guys that do about got to be 5 or 6 nets a week. And
I just looked at a repeater today and talked to the gal over at Yaesu, and gave me what I thought was a pretty good price. If I decide to fill out the app, I can get it within a very short period of time.
Yeah, I did it amazed because I didn't have any frequency pairs at the time. But I was listening to John Crook, and he said, even if you don't have a frequency pair, as long as you intend to, call, send in. So about a year ago, I sent in. 3 weeks later, I had a repeater for $700.
Wow!
Beautiful repeater.
Yep.
And I did the thing where you apply for the frequency pair, and they
From
gave me some
NARC or whatever.
Say it again.
NARC or something like that.
Mine was NESM or MC, New England something coordinator.
Okay.
Yeah. And they gave me a 440 set.
Wow.
And pretty soon they're gonna. I've tried it. Oh, I've had it for over 6 months, so now they're gonna make it permanent and throw it in the directory. So.
Well, I'm putting my application in tomorrow.
Yeah, so it worked out really good. So I got that running, and I enjoyed the heck out of that. And all my neighbors, they got a few hams local. They can get on 440 and use it.
That's
and I have it linked into QSO America, so it does that. And you can go in and obviously do the YSX thing and change rooms and kind of go wherever you want with it. So it's pretty slick.
And how high do you have your antenna for this repeater?
I got a 48-foot of tower, 10 feet of mast, and a Diamond 510 on top.
Oh boy,
go 510.
What are you doing for a duplexer?
I got one of those Chinese ones, very similar to the ones that I'm going to forget the company that has them, but
Telwave.
Well, they do repeaters and stuff, and it's eluding me, but it's a little it's a mobile type, but I'm only doing the 50 watt. Yeah, Bridgecom.
Bridgecom.
It's just like theirs.
Okay.
And that worked out good. For a little while, I ran it before I had a frequency pair. I ran it as a crossband.
Okay.
So that repeater works really good as a crossband repeater. And I did that with a regular duplexer, something 72, like a Diamond N72, and the Diamond 510. So that worked out good too.
Nice. Where's my duplex?
I want to know where Justin is tonight, because Marcus looks like he could give him a run for his money on Epic Beards, although Marcus's video cut back out now. But,
oh yeah.
Marcus, you with us?
Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, we got a guy, Justin, who's normally on here, and he could keep up with your beard there. Just I think you guys are in the same ballpark with a COVID beard going.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Where you at, man?
Right now, Red Bluff.
All right.
Hey, where'd you just pop in from, Cracker?
Who are you talking to?
He's talking to Marcus.
But he turned his. I think he turned his mic off or something.
Oh, he's on it.
Oh shit! Sorry.
There he is. What's going on, my brother?
No, not a whole lot, brother. We just Just work, man. I'm 100 hours every week and a half. So
Wait, you're not on the Rona vacation?
no,
Me neither.
never.
Chris is.
Every once in a blue
I
moon.
wish. I am as far as sports photography goes. I'll tell you, I keep getting more and more bad news. The NFL doesn't want us on the field this year, and
wow,
I got one MLB game scheduled for September, so that's great. And then the MLS called the other day and said, "Oh, we need you to reapply for your credentials. We got 3 home games going on. The earthquakes." So I put all the paperwork in, and then they said, "Oh, you're denied for your credentials." So it's desperate out there right now, man.
Wow.
I believe it.
Well, thankfully,
A question for you.
job, Chris.
Go ahead, Bert. I heard you in there.
So I've got this FT-70. It's going to a Pi-Star. And so I'm trying to use it with YSF to DMR to get to the DVR repeater. And it'll cut off. Like I'll be listening to it, like tonight's net. It'll cut off, and then it's like I have to press the button again for it to get back on, kind of thing. But in regular CF4 FM, it comes in all nice and everything. And I tried it with Chris from England, and I was on with him, and I was like able to talk to him for a while. But whenever I try it with the VVR repeater, it like cuts off. I don't know why.
Were you cross-banding like that with Chris from England? Was he on, or were you just on regular like Fusion or? C4?
No, he was on DMR, and I went to the YSF to DMR through that, and then went to his channel, whatever it is. But if I do it to the VVR's repeater, then it'll get cut off, like every so often.
I can give you the quick fix that will work for perfectly, but it's probably not the best fix, and that's get another hotspot in the DMR radio, and then you got that one ready to rock, and you don't have any troubles. But
well, are you going into Fusion and then typing in a room number that's linked to DMR? Is that what you're doing?
It's in the configuration. Like I never put it into the radio.
Okay.
It's like YSF to DMR is like the first station it goes to or whatever.
Can you set the settings dynamic or static?
I don't know what that is.
Well, if you set it static inside of your Pi-Star, then it like dedicates it to that channel. So I'm thinking maybe that might help from it jumping. And the other thing I'm wondering is, sometimes, with these Pi-Stars, they have modes that they will operate. They'll say DMR, they'll say Fusion or D-Star or what have you. But what I have noticed is that you have to use one of them that in the Pi-Star itself, it allows you to go where you set up on the thing and you just click either DMR or Fusion or whatever. If you look down, they have one that says Yaesu or Fusion to DMR. I think if you do not choose that and you're just on Fusion, that might be where your problem's coming from. Because I think maybe the Pi-Star is having issues with the data encoding translation. If it's cutting out on you and you have to hit a button, it seems like you're either resetting something and telling it to grab it again or something weird. Look on your dashboard of is it a Zoom Spot or Pi-Star?
Pi.
So look on your dashboard on the left-hand side when you're in configurations, and right at the very first box that should come up is the mode that you want to select. And look down in that list, and I'm pretty sure I remember seeing a configuration that allows you to select Fusion to DMR. And I'm thinking if you do that, that's going to enable your C4 Fusion radio to communicate on the DMR protocol. It's going to do all the data transitioning for you if it knows it's supposed to. I have a feeling that's what's happening, but I mean, I've transitioned from Yaesu to DMR just from a room number that I put into I guess you'd call it a code plug or whatever, you know, when you're going to select different rooms or whatever. But I don't know, that sounds weird. It shouldn't cut out like that. I think something might be stopping you there that has to do with that switching mode.
Yeah, because I had Mike the Geek kind of look at my configuration. He didn't see anything really wrong with it. My bars were like kind of pretty much in spec and everything like that. And because all I have is the YSF mode and YSF to DMR selected in my configuration. And then that's all.
Well, you really shouldn't have. I've heard, and I haven't done it myself, but I've heard if you have multiple modes selected in your configuration, that it can send things a little squirrely.
Okay.
Like if I'm gonna run on my, I think I have 4 of them running currently, and each one is dedicated to that mode. So one's a DMR mode, one's a P25 mode, and I remember just somebody telling me in some conversations in the past that you really didn't want to run multiple modes at the same time, like having them both clicked at the same time. You might want to experiment with that. Either run one or the other. Don't run them both.
Okay. I'll give that a shot then. Yeah.
Yeah, see if that helps.
Yeah. Cool.
I mean, the other kind of thing to throw out spending more money, because we like to buy new gear. The OpenSpot 3 I have found to be the easiest one to use if you want to cross modes, because literally you just get into the interface and you're like, I'm using a DMR radio and I want to do fusion. Click, click, done, and it just works. It's really good at crossing the modes. So if you're somebody who wants to have like a single radio and you're looking for a good hotspot, I think that OpenSpot 3, for me anyway, for my money, that's the best one out there.
Hey guys, I'm gonna cut out. I gotta go. It's been nice hanging out with everybody. Have a wonderful night. I'm better tomorrow. I'm gonna go play with my. I have a wooden hotspot. I'm gonna go play with that. See if I can't get that to work wobbly. Yeah.
Good to see you, Kevin.
Yeah. Good to see you guys too. It was really fun tonight. A lot of people. Looks like we got over 30 people hanging out on YouTube. That's really cool. So
nice.
Yeah,
really glad.
Well, have a good night. We don't have much longer ourselves here, but I just wanted to open the floor. That was a great question, Bert. Hopefully you can get to the bottom of that, because nothing's worse than getting some gear and it kind of being a little glitchy.
Yeah.
But would anyone else like to kind of bring up the last thing for tonight?
I have a new tool for measuring my antenna widths.
And is that a tape measure?
This is this Stanley Fat Max I found in my drawer, and I call it the Corona tape because it is exactly 6 feet.
All right.
But this is really all I need just to measure out 19 1/4.
Why do they call it the Fat Max?
Because it's super wide, and the Fat Max design will literally allow you to extend that. If he had like a 25, 30 footer, Chris, you will literally be able to extend that thing like 20 some odd feet before that thing's going to collapse.
No,
they call it the Fat Max because
it's about 13 feet.
Okay. I'm not like you. I know this guy does windows and damn doors every day, and he measures. That's all he does.
Exactly.
Bobby was a tape measure.
That's a 25 foot. It only goes about 11.5.
Well, I just knew that if you do a regular tape measure, the thing's bending at whatever.
So it's a little better than the preview you did at Harbor Freight.
Yeah, Harbor Freight.
So
no Fat Max at Harbor Freight.
I have this.
No.
And I'm also planning to work on a dipole insulator out of PVC. I posted the video from KB9BBR in the Discord.
Brian, I just used a big zip tie and drilled some holes in it.
There you go.
I take some coat hangers and bend them and staple them to a piece of wood.
That a boy.
Creative.
I got a question for Rhett.
I was trying to measure cable, and I was thinking maybe I'll just use one of these, these things that roll on the floor, and then just have the cable going across it, and then just measure the whole cable down, and it's whatever feet. And I was 3D printing like a little groove thing up on it, so that it would just hold the wire as I pulled it through it, and it's just like, oh, I need 25 feet, and then just keep on out.
Oh, you could Jimmy rig that up real quick.
Yep.
Someone had a question for Rhett.
Yeah, that's me. So I missed the, and I'm kind of new, so I missed the beginning. So did you actually drill a hole in the gutter and you put a female coupler and then the PL 259 screwed to that? Is that how you started the gutter deal?
Yeah. I have a picture of it on my QRZ page. Essentially I just drilled. I took a screwdriver with a self-tapping screw and drilled it into the gutter and wrapped some cheap speaker wire into that, and connected it to the 9-to-1, and magic.
Wait a minute. What's the 91? I mean, you're going to
the 9-to-1 That's the
transformer.
Yeah,
Balin. Yeah.
You know, if this was
what's your call, Rhett?
I'm sorry?
What's your call?
Kilo 4 Mike Romeo Bravo.
All right, let me see if I can bring up a picture.
Thank you.
Ooh.
Yeah, if this was a group I was riding with, this is like the beginning of a road name for Rhett. You know, it's gonna be like the gutter.
And you're a Jeep guy.
Oh yeah. That's how I got into ham radio.
We'll still let you come on here, even though you're.
All right, so I'm sharing the photo there.
That's it.
And so he's got his coax screwed into the unun there.
That's it. Yeah.
And then the wire comes off the unun, and he's got it. Let me see if I can.
Like
it's
that.
not. He's got a self tapper just jammed in there.
Just right into the gutter.
It's not zooming.
And the ground is running off to a. I don't have a picture of that, but it's just a few feet away. There's the service ground to the house.
Well, Rhett, you should say that's not into the gutter. You should say that's in 6 inches up of the downspout. That's a big difference in the gutter. So that's a piece of cake, bro. I mean, that's a sweet idea.
Yeah. I just discovered it, online and wanted to experiment, and it works. I couldn't get 80 meters on a wire in my yard. It's just I don't have a yard big enough. So, wrapped around the house, definitely big enough, and I made lots of contacts tonight on 80 meters using 100 watts.
100 watts?
The icon.
And that's like the biggest roofing filter I've ever seen.
I'm sorry?
That's the biggest roofing filter I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Above the gutter.
Literally.
Eric is still going to burn his house down now.
Thank you, Jason, for showing, because I almost went on the roof and started drilling holes in the bottom of my gutter.
No, it's got
that would work too.
I got the vertical
downspout.
You got to get the downspout.
Great idea.
You got to ground it. And I could probably, so there is some noise, but all the signals that I was getting earlier were well above the noise floor. And I could probably put a choke, I'm imagining, on the coax feed to maybe reduce some of the noise. So that's my next step.
I have an idea for a cheap choke.
Yeah, I think LDR has the same company that I bought the 9-to-1 transformer has a 1-to-1 choke, and for $30. So I'm going to try that, and maybe for $60 I'll have a nice little 80-meter antenna.
All you have to do is take and make 9-inch circles, about 9 of them with the coax right there where it feeds, and that makes a choke.
I've heard that too. So right now I have a very short piece of coax that was attached to my 40 to 10 and a lightning arrestor that was feeding into the shack. But yeah, that's another thing that I want to try is just wrapping.
If you just make that wrap, and then what you're after is, I guess, if I understand correctly, like just the wind blowing across the gutters creates static, electricity.
Yeah.
And so you pick that up. And by doing the choke, however you want to do the choke, some pteroids, the wrap, it takes that static out.
Yeah. One question though about that coax feeder. How long is that coax between the antenna and the unknown and the tuner radio?
Not long at all. It's probably 15 feet.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm sure it could be longer. And with the choke, it might need to be. I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know. I lit it up tonight. I was totally surprised. The gutter does wrap all the way around the house, so it's a fairly large length of gutter there, and it's totally working.
All right, that'd be interesting. Well, thank you very much, guys. I'm going good. I'm off tomorrow, but I'm an early riser anyway. Not quite like Derek, but early enough. So you guys have a great night. Great net there, Nick and Jason. Awesome. You take care too, Bobby Lee. Stay out of trouble.
Good night.
Night, everybody. Good night, Chris. Take care.
Have a good night. I don't know what everyone's talking about. My alarm goes off at 4 a.m.
Yeah, get some rest, Jason. Time to get some rest. Okay, good night, everybody. Take care.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks for inviting me.
But yeah, so that I think that will pretty much wrap it up for us. Hold on your thoughts or comments or ideas for next week. We'll be back. A lot of us are in Discord, just kind of chit-chatting, sharing photos, which is always fun. I couldn't believe how good Rhett's 80 meter worked, but there you have it. I mean, that is the best thing about what we're doing here is just experimenting, trying, and sharing, and talking about it. So awesome.
Hey, is Ryan in a box?
He's in a Connex shipping container. That's what I said.
You got the Grand Tour earlier, Bobby, when you guys ducked out.
That was so crazy, dude. It's funny. Ted got in trouble from his wife. He's grounded.
Ooh.
He has to go. And then my buddy shows up unannounced, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, it's nice to see you, but I'm in a Zoom meeting right now." And he goes, "Oh, well, and I'm like, I'm all, dude, the meeting.
So, Bobby.
What?
Where
are you? Oh, there you are.
So, Ryan, you'll appreciate this because he's just like you. Ryan has converted his bottom bunk into a Radio Shack. And that's his bottom bunk, as far as I heard.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
He's got a whole shack down there. He's a little stud, that guy.
Now, do you have a blanket that drapes over it so you can close it in and no one can come into your fort?
Cardboard.
I used to have like a big gray sheet here, and I used to have that.
Well, just so you know, I had one of those way before you did, and mine was so much cooler. It just didn't have real radios. I had to draw mine on a cardboard box, but I still had as many switches as you did. Just so you know.
And he only had crayons. He didn't even have Sharpies at the time.
Well, I have everything on the cork board, so I don't miss any information.
Oh, I know, but even I had to draw my own cork board and then draw the stuff on there.
I know.
Actually, that's Bobby's
You have the
current
grid square map. You have the grid square map. You have the band plan back here. You have.
This kid's amazing. He never made me.
Bobby had to do it with the snow on the bare feet with the snow on the ground. Bobby, that's how
Do you have one of these?
Oh, Gordy West, huh?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I met him at Pacificon 2019 back in October, and he gave me one of these QSL cards, and I have a couple more here. I have Ryan.
Ryan, we want to continue to groom you to be a super ham. So from now on, if you want to talk to us, you need to signal in Morse. Otherwise, we're not going to listen.
I made contact with this dude a couple days. Well, not a couple, like 2 weeks ago, when he was on Mount Diablo.
Oh,
You just gave us all the finger. I know you didn't do it on purpose, but you gotta be careful.
This is just a photo with a big label on the back.
Well, he's got a KN6 call. Cut him some slack.
Yeah.
I like Ryan's camo. That's the best deal.
Yeah.
I have
BNQ, Brian with an I.
I have one of those somewhere.
Good old Brian.
That dude's a pirate, dude.
I think I have 2 QSL cards.
And then this dude I made a contact with during the June VHF contest, and I was on 40 meters CW. I was monitoring there, and I actually heard him call on CW. It was K6KM. 2 meter contact.
Where's your card?
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
I have to print more. And then my ham friend.
AGA6NA. That's not yours. Where's your card?
That's
Let's
my
see it.
ham friend. I have to print more.
He has
I
none.
don't currently have any.
Ryan, you're a superstar now, so you better start printing boxes because, you got to send me one as well.
I feel like that mustache has gotten darker since the beginning.
So, yeah, that's how we're going to end the night. What was the vote tally on the YouTube, and does it stay or does it go?
I think they said get a goatee, is what they said.
Yeah, well, I can't because I have to wear a full face respirator, so it seals right here. Like a firefighter, we wear fresh air.
Well,
so
it's sweet. It's sweet. I say keep it, but the bottom's got to be a diamond shape.
is that well, yeah, like Bobby, huh?
Smaller, much smaller, bro. But
Well, can you rock a mullet with it? I mean, that would kind of
no.
A mullet?
Yeah.
I just do a fade,
See,
What if you got rid of the whole goatee and then just trimmed the mustache up to your lip line and just had
Oh
a
yeah,
mustache?
right about now. That's a good time, right before we.
Oh yeah, nice and like this.
There you go.
What the what? It'll be around for another couple weeks. I'm sure it'll be gone soon. It's kind of itchy. People don't tell you that facial hair can be itchy.
Come on.
there you go, Marcus.
Come on. Get over it.
He's going to lose his man card if he keeps rolling like this.
Yeah.
And when I put the motorcycle helmet on, it kind of does some things. And
Dude.
I couldn't imagine wearing a helmet.
I got my M1 too.
I couldn't imagine, Marcus.
You're making me feel itchy.
Does it part? If you're on the motorcycle, will it part, underneath the helmet?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It does the whole who made you? You know what I'm saying?
Dude, Marcus, you need to come back next week. We're gonna get Justin back here.
Ooh.
And we're gonna have a manly beard off. So
Gotcha.
keep growing in the meantime.
All
right, guys. Well, with that, I'm gonna shut it down. It is 9:30. Try to get some sleep. But thank you everyone for joining us. We'll be back next Wednesday right here, and it will be on the repeater. And hopefully, I do want to talk about DFing. It's a very interesting conversation, for fun and obviously for purpose with what's going on lately, and we'll get that going. So thank you everyone. 7-3. We'll wave everyone off, and we'll catch you guys on the repeater if you're local.
7-3.
7-3.
7-3.